All right, that's stock music. I think that's music that anybody can use. I hope it is. It comes loaded with this Rode podcast machine, the Rodecaster, that someone in radio, of all things, was nice enough to buy this thing for me. And I'm not going to say who it was, but it's so weird. People we used to compete against are your fans now. And I have someone here who's not a fan of me right now, and that is Mike. We literally did 20 minutes of a podcast, and I realized I hadn't hit the video, and that was a big deal for me today. And then it just fell apart completely. It's all right. It's okay. You know, the third one.
We had such juice going, too.
Did we?
Yes.
I don't know if we had juice going.
I thought so. You were letting me talk.
Oh,
I was like, wow.
Well, I had a lot to say those first couple of podcasts. I still have a lot to say about the business and all that stuff. But we were talking about dating. And we were talking about being, you're single with a child.
Single with a child.
Right. And you went on a date. You got the wrong.
I wasn't going on dates.
Tell the whole story again, Mike.
Know, see, so you want to retread the same stuff?
Yeah, I want to retread that.
Okay.
Because I know where I want to go with it.
So I was.
How angry with me are you on a scale of 10?
I'm not angry. I'm just looking at the clock. That's all.
Got to be somewhere for the Super Bowl?
Well, I got to go home first and do something before I go. And then I have to go to HEB, and then I got to go to this person's house.
All right.
We'll make it all work.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you misread a date?
No, it turns out I thought I was going on dates with a woman. Turns out I wasn't at all. That we were talking on the phone at, you know, like I got a friend Joe. You know how my friend Joe and I go out by ourselves drinking and we talk on the phone and write about life. I'm being facetious. No, that's what I was doing with this woman, and it turns out, as I found out in the most humiliating way, these weren't dates at all. We were just hanging out as friends, and I have never been so wrong about it. I've never misread a situation. So
how many dates are we talking about?
Two. But that's enough to think.
Yeah, second date's usually a kiss, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, and that's what I tried to do. And then she was like, "What? No, that's not what this is." And there weren't any hard feelings about it, but she's like, "No, we're just going out as friends."
Oh, that had to be a fun drive home.
Yeah, I walked back to my car and I did that thing where I was like tiptoeing while I was walking because I was so embarrassed. And I'm like, wait, why am I fucking doing this? But yeah, and then I got back home and I texted her. I'm like, look, I'm sorry. I totally misread that. And then she called like immediately and we talked and it was fine. No hard feelings, but I was just still baffled. Like, wow.
Did you, I already know the answer to this, but did you pay for everything?
I know I didn't pay for everything. So I got the first rounds and then she offered to get, one later for both of us, which is kind of standard fare for a date.
You're not going to like my theory. Because
there's no good theory.
Well, you told it that you leaned in and she did the thing, right?
Yeah.
Now, but you asked her. I used to have this thing with Daniel. And by the way, I heard from Daniel. We'll talk about that in a minute. But you.
Oh, you did? I have to pretend that I haven't heard all this 20 minutes ago.
I feel like such a fucking idiot, man. I can't do it all alone. Good news is coming, though. I think we maybe have a place to live and those things to happen. So what you asked her before you kissed her, and I've always said you don't ask.
I know, but that's kind of you got to feel out the situation. But I think that's kind of how it's done now.
There's no way. You're over. You're in your 30s.
I only asked because I leaned in. I think I kind of like looked at her and leaned in, whereas like normally a kiss would go here. And she was just kind of looking at me. And I was like, I might, under normal circumstances, I wouldn't have asked. Okay. It'd just be like, it's usually a mutual thing. Like, duh, this is what's happening right now. I don't have a policy to do that. But in this case, since I wasn't picking up anything that the last second, I wasn't picking up what I thought I was going to be picking up. I did ask. Just to be.
But you went and you stayed friends. You've stayed friends and y'all go do stuff, right?
Yeah. We haven't. Yeah, she came to one of my shows. Just showed up.
Maybe she's not ready yet for that. Maybe.
Well, she did say something about like, yeah, blah blah. But she broke up with that guy in 2019. So I don't think it's not ready.
Oh, dude, it takes a long time for some people to get over some shit. Let me tell you, it takes a long, long
I don't
time.
think, if women are interested, they'll let you know. Yeah. That's what I've learned.
Yeah,
if they're interested, you'll know.
Yeah, I was walking out. Amanda and I was walking out of the dinner, and I didn't try anything. I wasn't, being forceful because I was too older. And as we were leaving the restaurant, she grabbed my hand and said, "Can we go have more drinks?" And then I knew that something was happening there. But she, I told her this is a weird thing for me. I'm not going to tell that. Should I tell that? Yeah. She told me, years later that she would have slept with me on that first night. I said I wouldn't have gone out with you again.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, I had some weird twisted logic about shit like that.
Sex on the first date's par for the course now.
What?
Yeah.
So if you get permit, do you have to do a contract, or what do you do actually?
What?
It sounds like you got to do a contract. The
last girl I dated, she wanted to have sex in the car at the end of the date.
I'd do that,
but I said no.
But I
didn't do that, just for the record.
Within 30 minutes of the date, whether it's going to be somebody that you don't want to see again, that you may date for a while, and have some fun to see where it goes, or that you're going to be madly in love with this person and it's going to kill you later when they dump you. I mean, I had that actually happen. I met a girl. I had this long hair, trying to look like Howard as much as I could. And we'd beaten him, and I was showing up at the Copper Tank, smoking cigars and doing all this shit. And there was, I'll never forget it, man. I'm standing there, and I'm sorry if you're at the radio, you listen to the radio and you've heard these stories before. There's going to be a lot of retreads, but I'm trying to do some things in life that are equally as embarrassing.
Did you turn the camera on?
I turned the camera on.
Right,
yes. It is blinking at us and rolling. It's so fucking funny. See, I look at it like radio. Hold my marker right there when I was talking about what I was about to talk about. It's like radio. I feel like, I felt like we needed to start over because I just got so lost for a second, completely lost. What was I talking about now?
You were talking about how you had long hair, smoking cigars, thinking you were King Dick because of the radio.
No, that was later. After this happened, I started being the King Dick when the cigars were really popular. Speakeasy used to be, not Speakeasy, the other one. Now, the outdoor venue used to be a whole thing that had a humidor, Cedar Street. Cedar Street? Doesn't matter. A bar downtown used to do cigars. But anyway, I had this long stringy hair. You've seen it on my son. The difference with my son, however, is it's thick.
Yeah.
He's got hair on his legs. I know that sounds odd to be telling you about my 17-year-old son. I don't have a hair on me.
Really?
Except, yeah. But down here, man, it's like the 70s.
Hairless wonder?
Oh, no, it goes crazy down here.
All right.
At the area you don't want to talk about.
Turn the camera off.
I'll also try to fix this echo in post, everybody. Sorry about that. What was I talking about? the women at the thing. So
start over.
No.
We start over every time you forget, just so you learn a lesson.
See, here's the deal, people. I get real uptight around Mike because I think he's smarter than me. I'm standing at the bar, and I hear a girl say to the other girl, she goes, "Is that Dale Dudley?" You can pick up on you can pick up on your name what is being said, even though I'm deaf as a doornail. You can pick up when you can hear somebody with the syllables.
Oh, sure.
Saying your name when you walk into someplace. Cute girls too. She goes, "Is that Dale Dudley?" I go, here we go. It's gonna be a good night. It's gonna be all right. And the girl goes, "Yeah." And one of them said, "He looks like Tiny Tim." And they weren't talking about the kid on crutches from A Christmas Story.
Oh.
They were talking. At some point of this podcast, we will have a screen up and you will see what I look like. You could probably go to the radio station took down all my pictures, so you can go to my Facebook page and check that. And then what was another one? No.
Listen, the best thing about that story is it's happened so long ago,
right?
That hot girls knew who Tiny Tim was.
Right.
That is no longer the case, I assure you.
And this, I may have, joined these two stories together over the years, but I'm pretty sure her friend tagged it with, "He looks like Beetlejuice." And that night I said, "I'm cutting my hair off tomorrow." I cut my hair off. This goes back to the girl thing. I met this gorgeous, half Japanese, wonderful woman. And I say that now because she was in the first season of The Housewives of Dallas.
Oh, okay.
And And I remember saying to Bob the next morning, I said, dude, this one's going to hurt. Because I knew it would never last.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these were, her and her roommate were trying to get famous.
Yeah.
And she was too nice to stay on the Housewives of Dallas, but her friend did, Leanne. And not knocking Leanne, but boy, she did something on Facebook yesterday. She's changed. These older women on these shows do a lot of stuff to their faces.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of stuff to their lips. And that sort of thing.
And Madonna.
And guess what my friend Leanne was hawking yesterday?
What?
Vaginal suppositories.
What's that for?
I don't know. My wife just laughed when I said it. Vaginal suppositories.
Yeah, one of the last girls I dated.
Vaginal suppositories.
Are we doing ads already?
No. Wait, where is it? That comes with the machine. I will not be playing those post-haste.
It's a good start, though.
What are you going to say?
Yeah, the last girl, I know what you mean, because the last girl I dated a while ago, I knew it wasn't going to last. It was structurally not going to last, and yeah, that stings. Yeah, I was way older and she wasn't. It was, that's fine for a fling, but not for a real relationship.
Really? Sure, I'm being married with the difference.
Well,
is this no go? It's Super Bowl Sunday while we're shooting this, so I'm going to have a cocktail. Was that enough? Was that a shot?
I'm not paying attention. You do your thing, man.
All right. We're going to read, going back to radio, I was telling Mike on the first 20 minutes that you missed. I'm sinking into my couch right now. I was telling him that we're going to read these actual complaints to the FCC that my lawyer downloaded a couple of years ago. We're going to do those.
What you got from the Freedom of Information Act?
He did an FIOA, which costs like $250. You ever done one?
No.
I got so mad
I'm looking into the whole JFK thing. So that's why.
By the way, if you see me doing this, you see that on my nose?
Uh-huh.
See the blemish in this one here?
Yeah.
Took my son in. My son's got eczema. We took him in to see Dr. Renee Snyder. Whew. Very nice place to go visit. A very nice place to go visit. And she's sitting there prescribing something for my son, and she goes, "That's precancerous on your nose." And I wasn't even the patient. Next thing I know, she's got. Have you ever had that done?
Mm-mm.
That nitrous, not nitrous oxide. That's it's nitrous, liquid nitrogen.
Mm.
Dude, it's the worst pain ever. And she just sat there and burned my nose. So I'm picking at it, and I apologize for that.
Yikes. Yeah, you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Good.
We're going to be doing more of these. I hope everybody listens.
I think they are. Right?
I don't know why I get so nervous.
I don't know either. Jesus Christ.
Dude, to get on stage is the worst. I don't know how you do it. I was envious. I'm driving around thinking about you today and masturbating.
Okay.
And I
figured it was going there.
And I was thinking, I go for the radio guys go for the easy ones, man. We had to do it every fucking day.
I figured you're telling the truth.
Every day. Yeah. And I was thinking about how I still want to be a comic. And I always wonder what kind of comic, if I would have turned out, because I did fine. I was in comedy right when it exploded big time.
In Lubbock, right?
Yeah. And it was the Robin Williams, But Seriously Folks album that really, that made me, that saved my career in radio. I said, there's more of me in that than playing records. And then when CERN came along, I said, if I keep playing records, I'm a dead man, and sure enough, everyone, left until it was my turn. Let's get into these. These are Dudley and Bob complaints. And this was pulled in 2013. I'm sure there were much more.
Oh, okay.
From the Freedom of Information Act. And thank you to my friend Gene Anthes for doing these for you. Let me see if I can find one. This one was from 2006, May of 2006, FCC notes. Here we go. Dale Dudley was ranting about a caller and voicing his opinion and lies about President Bush. This is the fun thing about the FCC. People are fucking idiots that write to the FCC. It is not against the law to have an opinion. And you can say it with all the pepper and the rough words you want to, as long as you don't violate the 7 dirty words, which I had reduced to 5, because we would still say dick. And there's one in here. I don't think we'll get to it because there's a lot of them. But where somebody here, let's see. While doing so, he used the G damn phrase, and they put G _. Again, not a curse word to some people, right? I said, God damn it. All right. I'm not sure if this is against the FCC rules, but he's been very offensive for over 15 years. You know, we weren't going to do anything to Dale, but we've seen enough of these over the 15 years.
These people are lame.
Isn't it great? I am not a regular listener. I just listen when commercials.
I heard goddamn, so I'm going to involve the federal government. Jesus.
This is elementary, but the words goddamn is all you're doing is wishing God to damn someone.
Yeah.
You're not.
Which is what people do all the time.
I do it all the time. I definitely do. I'm not a regular listener, blah, blah, blah. So there we go. That happened at 8:57 in the morning on that day. I'm sorry, I didn't realize there's 3 pages here. Here we go.
Called someone a pussy. Uh-oh.
Go ahead, read it.
Dudley and Bob both used the word pussy. They were discussing an incident between 2 politicians and made the remark that one of them was a pussy.
You're finally doing voices on the fucking podcast. Way to go, buddy.
Well, it fit.
Yeah.
I'll do it when it fits.
Do them in celebrity voices. I got, when things changed with Janet Jackson's nipple and all that stuff, I got a little nervous. I dropped pussy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We leaned into poussoir. You know, I was only fined by the FCC one time, and it was not my fault. Sort of not my fault. So we used to record, of all things, on videotape because the audio quality was better than the, 1/4-inch tape that we use, or I think it was 1/4-inch tape. And you could get more on it. So we would record those, and they would be recorded pre-delay. In other words, whatever was happening in the control room would be on that tape. Mm-hmm. Where post-delay, all our edits are there. That's what we should have been running. And my good friend Loris Lowe was running the board for us that morning on a rerun. And I got a phone call from the radio station. Earlier, before I turned the podcast off, we were talking about trying to get girlfriends back and how they put you in the friend zone. Mm-hmm. I was with that girl who had put me in the friend zone. I was super depressed already, walking around Disneyland, not being the happiest place in the world. I probably was the saddest person in the world. And I was
definitely at Disneyland.
But I was going to be on a panel for Rock Radio and Records, which was a huge trade magazine back in the day. And they called up. I don't remember who it was. Probably Jeff Carroll. He goes, "Dude, you got to issue an apology." I go, "Apology for what?" Because I always had this thing when I was a young dick that I'm not going to apologize for anything. Fuck, you didn't apologize. I always thought that that's what Howard was doing, so that's what I should be doing.
Yeah.
And so anyway, he goes, "Yeah," and he tells me what happened, and then I get a phone call from my British friend, and he goes, "Oh, Dale, oh Jesus!" Straight up at 8:00. They play, and this is the late 90s. This is around 98, 97, 98. A woman had called up, and I'd been talking about mental illness, which is my thing. That's my cause. And I'd been talking about that. She called up and said something very offensive. I wish I could remember what she said, but it was offensive enough for me to say these words. I'm nervous about this because we're talking to some other people about the podcast. I don't know how much they want me to say. You know what I'm saying? I said, "Shut the fuck up, you fucking cunt."
Yeah, I was hoping for the C.
8:00 in the morning.
Oh.
8:00 in the morning. And the radio station.
Beautiful.
The radio station, you know what they did? They tattled on themselves. They wrote a letter and attached a tape, and we sent it to the FCC to say, "We're sorry. We know we did this just in case you get complaints." $10,000. I didn't have to pay it. Insurance paid for it, probably. But that was, that was one of the worst.
Wow.
One of the worst things that had happened. Let's see here. Oh, we already did.
Should I read these in a celebrity voice?
Yes.
Which one?
Anything to save this, Mike. This one's really long.
Dealer's choice. What voice should I read this?
Well, you've told me you retired a bunch of the voices.
Yeah, I can do, what do you want? George Clooney? Jeff Bridges?
Oh, I want Jeff Bridges.
Okay, let's do it. Which page are we doing here? Which one do you want?
There's a real long one right here that was after the pussy one.
Yeah. All right, so.
"One or more of those involved with the Dudley and Bob radio show said, 'Jane, you ignorant slut,' on the air."
Stop right there. The person making this complaint, do they not know what "Jane, you ignorant slut" is? It was an episode of Saturday Night Live that was out in 1977, and Dan Aykroyd is talking to the Barbara Walters character and says that. I digress.
I'm a crime victim. So I posted as Jane D on the KLBJ FM message board.
Now, I actually want to read this in my real voice. I posted something they did not like. The listeners were able to continue to call me vulgar and obscene names like cunt.
No, they weren't. They did
on the KLBJ message board after I was banned.
Oh, I thought she meant on the air. Yeah, probably.
The main host, Dale Dudley, distracted from the issue by using his wealth, airwaves, influence, and message board to keep his fans in a frenzy. I related an incident where his girlfriend, now wife, was drinking during her pregnancy.
Oh.
He claimed I insinuated she was a lush. The truth is there is no drinking during pregnancy, and it was her behavior that would have insinuated anything. His fake outbursts like this kept his fans making obscene comments about me and continuing to call me slut.
First of all,
Jane Doe, crime victim.
She can still go fuck herself.
She got her mailbox robbed.
Real quickly, the story is we were doing Mr. Punyverse, at Schultz's Garden, and Amanda was 9 months pregnant. I mean, it was about to pop. A great thing happened that night that was disappointing, and then the hot woman comes up to my wife and says, "Are you?" She wants to know. This beautiful woman invited us to go home. She was into the whole pregnancy thing, and my wife said no. Can you believe that?
What?
Yeah, she.
Ew! What?
Yeah. And it wasn't just one. It was a hot woman that was well known at the time. A really hot woman who was well known at the time, and she was way into it for some reason. And I guess she would let me tag along. But that's not what happened. The thing that happened where I lost my shit is Amanda ordered a beer. I've lost you with pregnant woman and lesbian, haven't I? Or threesome.
Yeah.
Where did I lose you?
I don't know. I'm listening.
Amanda ordered one beer, and the waitress, now think about that. We're working there doing something, and the waitress comes out and she hands Amanda the beer, and she says something to the effect of, it's a shame your kid is going to have to grow up with a mother like you because of the beer. Now, this is before they came out and said that one drink, that all alcohol, that pregnant women shouldn't breathe. This is before they came out and said all of that stuff. So, does he have some issues at school? Sure. But I don't think it was the shiner that happened. That's a good one. And she literally put Jane Doe crime victim on the whole thing. The government, look at this, 3 pages of stuff that she's writing.
Tax dollars at work.
All right. You still doing Liam Neeson?
Sure.
Okay, do this one with Liam Neeson.
This show is comparable to cable network news. To cable network show Howard Stern. Women's body parts are described. Strip clubs are detailed. This morning, 10:30, the word goddamn was aired. It's beyond profane. Numerous calls to the station. Do nothing.
We weren't on at
I
10:30.
want my name anonymous.
We weren't on at 10:30.
Having tough guys to read these things. So incongruous. Who are these pussies?
I don't know. I had an old man one time corner me who was a kind of a fan, not corner me, but we were having a discussion, and he's connected with a charity that we got into. By the way, let's go back to that one woman. How was I using wealth on the air to make people be mean to her?
Well,
this is years ago. This is what did I say?
2006.
2006. This is years ago, before the PC world took over. All right. This is hard to read because they've faded. We'll move on. I'll bring that one back up if I can figure it out. Look at it on the computer. You found another one?
Death threats, bigotry, and anti-Semitism.
Where was that?
There was continuous profanity along with death threats, bigotry, and anti-Semitism. There was a clear and present danger of serious substantive evil, and then a question mark.
Is that now? Were you reading the one that
between 9:12 a.m. and to 9:16 a.m. on 7/29, my birthday, 2011, with children in the area? This entire sentence doesn't make any sense.
Anti-Semitism?
Well,
I must have told the story about what my mom used to call me. Yeah. You missed that because I edited the damn podcast. And
This is the greatest hyperbolic complaint I've ever heard. There was continuous profanity along with death threats, bigotry. I wish I was listening. Bigotry and anti-Semitism. There was a clear and present danger of serious substantive evil.
correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't anti-Semitism, wouldn't that be lumped in with bigotry?
Yeah, but it's anti-Semitism is so important that it has to be listed separately.
I grew up in a town in West Texas where there were Church of Christ Baptists and I think some Presbyterians. I didn't know what a Jew was until I started getting into studying World War II. Watching those things watching stuff with my dad.
What a blissful childhood.
I've never had an issue with that particular religion or whatever, if you want to call it race, whatever. I've never had now, wait a minute. That sounds like I have problems with all the other ones.
They're cool. I never had no problem with the Jews, man. They're good.
They were all good.
They're good.
They were all good.
Other ones, that's a whole different.
Let's see here. During an interview, one of the radio hosts uses the phrase acting lick a dick. No, acting like a dick is what I said, but they have it lick here. So that was some Freudian slip going on there when they said
someone's part.
Acting lick a dick. During an interview, no, that's the same one. All right. Well, that's that.
Let's rack up some more. Let's make this the most offensive podcast ever.
No, let's go back to the part. I'm so sorry, man. I'm so embarrassed. I'm humiliated. Because I really wanted to do this from home, and I think it will be fine. I think everybody will be fine with us. And by the way, can I get some, they'll let us broadcast live on YouTube if I have 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
And I think I have to have listening hours too. So make sure you're listening. Even if you don't want to listen to us, just let it play.
Yeah.
Just let it play through.
Just mute it.
Just mute it, put it in your desk or whatever. I wanted to go back to some of the things we hit that I didn't have the button recording.
Did we talk about DNA?
The DNA thing. Yeah. Were we talking about that on the previous podcast, which will now be known as 3A, and this is 3B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 is
You should have seen Mike when I said we have to quit. We got to start over. I can't. I got to have the video on this one. It seemed to be more popular than when we just did a recording. You should. I got to go somewhere. You still got to go somewhere. Okay, DNA. I heard through the grapevine that you had a bit.
Yeah, I did have a bit about that.
And then you're telling me now that genealogy is your favorite thing, right?
Yeah, and I've been doing it for years, way before Ancestry, the internet, all that.
Like you'd go down to the library?
Yep. I do all
and are you doing just your family?
I'm not doing other people's fucking family.
Do you want to drink?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
I wanted to get really drunk on this one. Now I'm just humiliated. My sister does. She's got us back to the 1300s. I find it amazing. We did that thing with Ancestry with our DNA. And what was crazy about it is once you get on, you don't have to do any work. It all pops up. And you find out about the Dudleys.
Yeah. I'm a little skeptical about Ancestry.
Okay, hang on a second, though. What I found about my family is going back, several generations. Depression was all in the Dudleys. I mean, there was a guy in 1970. You see his divorce records, which somebody has put up online.
There's weird stuff on there. There's sort of invasive shit on
And then a year later, you see his death certificate. Guess what it was?
Yeah, suicide.
Bunga. Death by bunga. No, took gun.
Yeah.
Took himself out with a gun. I'm not allowed to own a gun anymore. Did you know that?
That's probably good.
We probably should talk about that sometime. We probably should talk about it. I can't own a gun. It's a felony if I own a gun.
Really?
Yeah. August 26th, that week, where everything started going really wacky. So, yeah, but it's changed. It said I was English, Irish, and a little bit of Scottish. Now it says I'm mostly Scot.
Yeah.
With English and then Irish.
DNA can tell you all sorts of amazing things. I'm all into archaeogenetics and that kind of stuff. But
what is archaeogenetics?
That's a really exciting field where they can do, essentially what they can do now is it's looking into the genome of old skeletons. So you dig up someone who lived 5,000 years ago. They have the technology now where they can get the DNA from that skeleton. And whereas before, 15, 20 years ago, they could do a Y haplotype test and a mitochondrial DNA.
See, this is what I'm talking. In the previous podcast, I said, I don't know how long it's going to last with Mike because he's so much smarter than me.
It's not true. This is just my stuff I'm interested in. But now on a skeleton, you can basically do a full autosomal DNA test. Basically a 23andMe for someone who's been alive 5,000 years ago.
Autosomal. Okay.
Right. So you can basically get their whole genome.
Right.
But the thing with like my joke was about narrowing down the nationalities of it, right? Because your DNA doesn't know what flag is flying.
No,
You know
we didn't know where mostly didn't know where you lived all the time either.
Yeah. So what they're doing is they sort of a best guess algorithm, which now as time goes on and the more people take these tests, it actually helps refine them a little bit. But in the beginning, and these things were so vague because, there were ways that people could have Native American ancestry in their background who didn't actually have Native.
Oh, that happened. That was me. We did that on the air as a whole thing. I was told there was no hair on my body because we were part Native American, which I didn't know. That's kind of a stereotype, isn't it, to say that a Native American doesn't have any hair on his chest?
They have less body hair.
But it was 0%, none.
Okay. And then the opposite happened. So much more common is it for people like you to think, oh yeah, we got a Cherokee ancestor or whatever.
Here's what happened.
None.
There was a letter that was written by one of my grandmothers, and they didn't have enough money in the oil. We're talking Oklahoma, East Texas, and West Texas. And she was going back to the reservation to have the baby because evidently there was somebody there or she could get it cheaper or something. They were going back to the reservation. There were oil camps that were on the reservation.
Okay.
So my family's wealth, they were super rich. I'll tell you more. Finish what your thought.
Was I now?
All right, let's start over.
Start over.
Dude, I'm going to issue the 20 minutes we did. I'm going to issue it as
bonus
3B. If I get enough vote, if I get 1,000 people,
the lost
following me on YouTube, and the metrics work out. That first one went through the fucking roof. It was crazy. The first podcast.
But you can also get DNA saying you're Native American or part Middle Eastern without actually having any of those backgrounds because of how DNA works. So that simple model.
So I can say that I'm a Native American.
What?
You said you could say it without having any of it in your blood.
No, I'm saying you can get a test result back saying that you're part Native American or part Middle Eastern without actually having any of that. That you can get false positives as well. Do you see what I'm saying? Right.
So you're not necessarily English or Scottish, is what you're trying to tell me in a very complicated way.
No, you probably are. I mean, that probably is what your background is, as is mine, basically. But sometimes, it's
McCrae?
Scottish.
Is it Scottish?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of, can you say mix? There's a lot of Mick in Ireland too. So
yeah, you can call them mix. I do.
Okay.
Because I'm not Irish.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm not saying it's wrong that you are not those things, but just be a little skeptical, especially when it gets like the percentage or whatever. It's just, how can you get, let's say you're not Middle Eastern at all, but how do you get a Middle Eastern 5% Middle Eastern DNA?
I think we're boring people. You know why? I found that genealogy didn't appeal to anyone else around me. I did, because if you join Ancestry, all this stuff pops up. Asked a little girl out in high school, had a huge crush on her, and it was Karen Godsey. Still consider her a friend. We were in theater together, and I know I didn't ask her out. I had a crush on her. I was afraid to tell her. I'd leave her roses and just run away from the house. And
little Dale.
Years later, as we were graduating, or right after, she said, "My dad met your dad, and we have the same great grandparents." And sure enough, it showed up on Genealogy.
Oh wow!
Isn't that a weird deal, though? We weren't in the same city. I mean, we didn't grow up in the same city or anything like that.
Well, let me tell you something, though. I'll just say this and leave it as far as Ancestry goes. You go and you click on the leaves. You say you don't have to do the work. It was very possible that if you do that, you're going to be led astray and make a mistake.
I did it. I made myself find Robert E. Lee in our line. But then going back, I realized I had the wrong people.
Right, exactly. So
it's like a Ouija board. You want somebody to be famous in your family.
Yeah. My cousin, he said, "Oh, I found this like funny family story on Ancestry on our Morse side," and it showed me. And I know the family, and this family line has been known forever. I mean, it's not a recent discovery. We know the Morse line, and I looked. I'm like, well, these are probably cousins, but we're not descended from these people. Like an old witchcraft story from the 1600s. I'm like, that's probably related. But he's like, but I went on Ancestry and went back and found them. Like, well, then it's wrong. You made a mistake. And he's younger. He's a lot younger than I am, and he can't. I mean, people think, oh, but it's on the internet. It's real. I went on Ancestry and went back and hit all the leaves, and it led back to that. I'm like, yes, I know that's what you did, and you ended up in the wrong place.
And on Ancestry, if one person is wrong,
then
hundreds of people are wrong.
It spreads mimetically.
100 people.
So if you're just going on Ancestry and just blindly getting a family tree off of that, some of it might be right, but you are probably getting wrong shit.
I always thought we were poor sharecroppers because I had to hear that from my dad all the time. A sharecropper is somebody who works another man's land, the man that owns it, and he never can get out of debt because there's the company store. We may have heard that in a song, or where he bought things on credit and it was never enough to cover it. So they go through the whole depression. Come to find out, no, we were rich. But by the way, I'm coming back to rich. Don't worry about me. Isn't that 1863 gap? That one's a little tough to find people sometimes. It's just men go off and you never can find another thing about them because of the war. Was it 1863? I think it was.
Well, the war was 1860.
No, but I would find a guy, a cousin, a Dudley, and then you just never, there's nothing else about him. Because they
especially I assume they were Confederates.
Yeah, but we were wealthy with people. I don't want to say we. My family was wealthy with people. And they were aristocrats going back to the 1700s, and then the 1600s and all that was Dudley Castle, and then he dated one of the Elizabeths or something and got his head chopped off or something went down. I find it fascinating. We probably bored everybody, but I think it's amazing. I don't know why people don't want to know.
I think Amanda, I think there's an interest in it now.
Amanda, no, I did, but there's you and I sat there for a year doing it. And I want to get a membership and go back and do it more. And my sister, she does it all the time. She actually records stuff for the Mormons. Was that this side we talked about the Mormons, or was that the one?
I think that was the lost episode.
The lost episode.
But yeah, I used to go to the Mormon library and use it over by the radio station. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Yeah, it was right there
by our radio station where I don't work anymore.
Yeah. So there's a Mormon church over there, and in there is a little genealogical library that you can go and use. And what they have basically is it's a lending library. You can order microfilm. Now, all this stuff is online now. Microfilm and microfiche, and they would send it from Salt Lake City like a library loan, and you'd pay. And then I'd sit there and go through the microfilms and figured a lot of stuff out that way. And it was, and they were very nice, and they never tried to proselytize. But for the people in the know, Ancestry.com, yeah, it's great. FamilySearch.org, which is another free site, and that's where if you need to get the deep cuts because they have all the actual legal documents on there, all the old documents to actually prove this stuff. If you want to establish that somebody is the son of this person, you need to be able to prove that somehow. Ancestry doesn't, if you just see a family tree like, oh, power of suggestion, that's his dad and that's his dad, you're like, oh, okay. Well, if you're really doing this, you need to be able to prove that.
Well, it's proof though. If I get stuff from the other people, put pictures up and put up, like for example, we have two. I have a great grandfather and his son, which would be a cousin, who are on the National Fallen Officers Memorial. Okay. They were both cops. There's an article about one, and his last words were, "Boys, I think they've killed me." That was his last words. But that's valid, isn't it?
Well, let's talk about going back a little further. Like, are we bored? I don't think so. I think people are interested. 1700s, 1800s. How do you establish that Richard Dudley is the son of John Dudley or whatever? Like, how do you prove that?
Yeah, there's a gap in the 1800s with a Dudley who was a peddler. He went around, selling wares. and things like that. But and we're not sure if that's the way it goes or whether it goes with somebody else. You can't tell.
So that's where the actual research comes in, where you need to be able to look at lots of different documents and try to figure out how to establish a relationship.
Yeah.
That's where the work.
Now back to dating.
Okay.
You got to go?
No, I mean, where are we now?
We're at 42.
How long did you want to go?
45 or an hour.
Go do a few more minutes.
You can remember the first podcast that we were doing that I dumped. How pissed were you at me just a few minutes ago?
Oh, you mean the lost episode?
The lost.
I wasn't pissed.
I'm never doing one at my house again. I'm
Why not?
never going to be because it's like it's so tedious and so tense. You saw my new dog. It won't stop barking, won't stop moving around. I got an 11-year-old.
I think you don't like being at your house. I don't think it has to do with recording here.
A little something for the camera. A little something for the people watching on the camera. I don't know. It's something about it, you know. I'll just be honest. I'm still not comfortable. I've always really respected you, and always you'd come on the air, and I would do that goofy thing where I wanted you to do a voice because I didn't know what else to ask you, you know. So
well, now you can ask me anything. We can't talk about this.
See, sorry. I'll edit that out if you want.
Yes, please.
I'll just bleep it out. How's that? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
we can bleep that out. But you are Irish.
No,
English.
I'm English, German, Danish, and Scotch Irish,
I have a fascination with
which is a very specific thing.
not Switzerland. What is it? Name some of the Nordic countries for me.
Denmark, Sweden, and Norway.
Norway. I have a fascination with Norway. I watch Norwegian not sitcoms.
Sitcoms.
No. Regular dramedies on dramies. That's two. It's one.
Dromedaries?
It's a drink and a half.
Norwegian
It's a
cables?
drink and a half. No, cop shows and stuff that they do in series. A series from Norway.
Procedurals?
They even had a thing where you could just watch a boat or a train on the Norway stations for hours, and it was the hottest thing in the country. But for some reason, I'm fascinated by that area, and come to find out, I've got a little Finnish in me or something like that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, somewhere along the line. It's so beautiful.
Interesting.
Yeah, my dad had blue eyes. I don't know where that comes from. So what else were we talking about on the other podcast, the Lost podcast?
I can't remember. It's hard to keep track with all the forgetting.
I know. I'm really worried about it. I
think
I was doing that on the air for a while, but then I always wrote it off to, I drank too much last night or I did this, but I think it's medication. Actually, I'm reading up on some of the stuff I've been taking for a very long time. I won't say the name of it, but it rhymes with Manax. And they say that there's a memory loss issue. So I'm weaning myself off for the trolls. I'm just having this drink and again, I'm not taking Xanax when I drink.
Well, next time I'll be.
My shrink fired me because of a listener, one of the trolls out there who just doesn't like my existence. Got a hold because I would talk about the doctor on the air. His name was Cordoba, and loved the guy to death. And he just kept calling me, saying, "I'm hearing these things," because people would call him up. So I don't say the name of my therapist anymore. And then Matt turned it into a bit. Like he goes, when you were, I said, I took his Xanax. He goes, "Oh, while you were drinking?" Of course. And so that went in. The dude fired me because he called me one afternoon. I said, "Look, are you calling me again about Xanax and alcohol?" And he goes, "Yes, Mr. Dudley, I'm really." I go, "Dude, I spent $210 to see you every time. Don't bring it up again." And I hung up on him. And the next day he called me and fired me.
Wow.
Which is against the law. It's not against the law. It's against the rules. It's called abandonment. You have to feel in danger or something like that. But the guy had saved my life, so I just said, fuck it. But that's long-term stuff. But after the first of this tonight, I'm definitely going to wean off and see if there's something else going on.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, in the meantime, I can have like a little legal pad. I could be a stenographer as well, so we keep track of.
I usually do that. On the radio show, I would write down a word to remind me that I wanted to get back to something.
Like you said, you had that on the first episode, and you weren't forgetting everything.
I had something happen this week, and I go, "Oh, that'd be funny on the podcast." But we've got more to do. I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
So and we hinted. I'm talking to some people. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Some big people, and I'll just tell you what it is. I won't say the name of what's going on. there's some people that want to help us, and we're going to get advertisers, which is something I wanted to do, which I could do on my own. That was going on, but we're talking to some people who could make it much bigger. And my worry is they don't want you cursing or saying anything. And I've always wanted to be able to just talk like a normal human being. I remember the first Taint and Teabag. We just went, fuck, shit, fuck, we said, and the sideshow, we would cut, the first ones we'd curse and go, just, hey man, I shit my pants, which I actually did over the past few months. I told this story.
Didn't you tell this in the first episode?
Did I?
Yeah, I think so. This is, yes, because I've heard this.
Well, then that's it. This is it.
Okay.
This is it. I told it on the first episode, for real?
I'm almost positive. How else would I know this?
Yeah, because then I went the test and the whole. All right. Well,
We did it.
we did it. You done?
Any closing thoughts?
Oh, no. And I wish we could put this at this. I'm going to edit some stuff. No, I can't do it because we're doing video. I wanted to make this all about you doing Valentine's Day, performing at Valentine's Day at Cap City, at the new Cap City.
Shit.
Shit, yes.
I wanted to hit that. This Tuesday, February 14th, Cap City Comedy Club, capcity.com for tickets. I'm headlining.
All right, everybody. It's a work in progress, and I really appreciate it. Mike McRae.
Love you guys.
Dale Dudley. I think it's called the Dale Dudley Show, but I think I'm just going to call it Dudley. I think just Dudley would be good.
Dudley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like show. It's not a show. Obviously, I'm senile.
Yeah.
Not putting anything out there. All right, we'll see you the next time.
It's called
everybody.
Dudley because he forgot.
And to
Dale.
the person who bought me the Rodecaster, absolutely brilliant piece of equipment. I appreciate it. And to my wife who's helped me set up the cameras and everything else. And we'll do it again in a week or two.
Yep.
Right? All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
We'll see you.